I'm ready for you, baby. Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the NFL Showdown live before lock show presented by PrizePicks. I'm Eric Lindquist. I'm excited to be talking this fantastic game. This is the Ben Raza wet dream football game. Let me just tell you, 39.5 total, Chicago Bears, Pittsburgh Steelers, everything you could want in 1954 in a football game. No doubt about it. But I'm just here to host. I get to do the hosting. I'm going to be enjoying the content here along the way with two of the best in the industry. That is Mr. Neil Orfield over there, one of the new guys here in the Awesemo streets, but you see him all the time. NK Orfield around DFS, Player Q DFS on the Twitter sphere, everywhere. Great to have him along. How you doing, my dude?
I'm doing well. Looking forward to this kind of weird slate. Really hard to see what's going to happen here, but we'll do our best.
Ray McLeod season. It's in full effect. Hey, and then the other guy, of course, I've just been working with this guy a bunch. He's the smiliest dude in the Awesemo streets. No doubt about it. Hands down. One of the Matts, one of the 48 Matts here at Awesemo.com, Mr. Matt Savoca. You know him at Draftaholic on the Twitter sphere. How you doing, my dude?
Hey, I'm great. Yeah, the old coach George Halas would be proud of this Bears offense, averaging about 150 yards passing over their last 5 games. That's all you need in 1954. So, yeah, I don't know if we want a 2021 game here, but this should be fun to break down. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, we're here to hit that line and hit it hard. That's literally all we're here for, some smash mouth. But if you guys are excited, I love showdown slates like this. I think that they're a little bit more intriguing than just 57-point totals where it's, even Cooper Kupp ending up in the winning lineup yesterday. It's like, what are we doing here? Like the worst possible outcome for him. He ends up in the winning captain. I have no idea what to believe anymore. But hey, we're here to break it all down for you. Hit that like button as we get going. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you know when this and all the other content at Awesemo.com is going live. We've got some fun stuff in store for you here today. We've got some PrizePicks. We've got some OddShopper. We're going to have a new segment here for OddShopper that I'm super excited about. I hope that you are too. We're going to be doing some fun stuff for them in the next couple of days here. Of course, part of the Awesemo brand out here. But tomorrow, we're going to be doing a little scavenger hunt on NBA Live Before Lock. I would get a little acquainted with the OddShopper if I were you. We will get to that here in the later portion of the program. But first, like we always do, we go position by position on this show. We know the quarterbacks. That's about all I can really say about these quarterbacks this season because PFF don't like them. That's for sure, Matt Savoca. And I got to be thinking that between the two right now, maybe we can find a little bit of a glimmer of hope still in a low total game because the projections are still there. They're quarterbacks. But talk to me about, let's start with the road guy, Justin Fields here in this spot.
Okay, so it was great to see the running game finally appear for Justin Fields because that was where the fantasy upside was always going to come from. It's very rare in the NFL, even when a rookie quarterback is eventually going to hit, for them to just hit the ground running, be a really effective passer, and essentially create an offense that is elite. Patrick Mahomes in 2019, very much not the norm. And that's certainly what we're seeing from Justin Fields in the passing game. But at the very least, against San Francisco, he ran for 103 yards and a touchdown, giving him 26.3 fantasy points. That was enough for 5th among all quarterbacks last week. That was what we envisioned when we thought about Justin Fields and his ceiling games at the beginning of this season. So at least it's there. It's in the range of outcomes. But this week, it's pretty tough playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 6th best in the NFL in schedule-adjusted fantasy points allowed. We're not saying it's impossible here. No, we're not. But when I look at the last few weeks, he's thrown between 111 and 209 pass yards in the last 5 games. So I really don't think there's a ceiling there. It's only with rushing he really gets to that full ceiling performance.
Yeah, but with rushing, I got to be feeling pretty good. Neil Orfield over there, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers 6th in the power rank on PFF in terms of their defensive proficiency. And they've been number 1 in strength of schedule to start off the season. Chicago Bears ain't it, but can Justin Fields still be a guy that we can rely on in the event that he's needing to run for his life in this spot?
Possibly. I wouldn't rule it out. It is not something that I'm counting on today. I'm going well under the field on Justin Fields. He is the most negative leverage player in the Awesemo single game tool on DraftKings. So on DraftKings in particular, I'm going well into the field on Fields. I just think last game was kind of a fluke. There are some stats, advanced stats suggesting that he got way more rushing yards than you can usually expect for him. in that kind of game. So I'm not expecting him to repeat against the Steelers defense in particular. I just don't think he's going to be able to run. Maybe it'll be the kind of game where he is forced to run more just because he can't throw. But it's not something I'm counting on. I wasn't really high on him going into looking at this slate, and then seeing that he's the most negative leverage play in the tools really made me go well under the field on Justin Fields. And it's scary with a quarterback. I don't usually like to go well under the field on a quarterback, but I'm taking my chances today.
God darn it. What is it about the beginning of these shows, Matt Savoca, where you guys say something and it just throws me way off? Because Justin Fields is my second highest exposed player on this slate right now. Yesterday, it was Christian McCaffrey. You guys tried to make him a thing in my life, and thank God I got lucky. You know, I didn't have the ability to really swap a bunch when we were on the show. And so today, it's one game, so I'll be able to swap it pretty quick as opposed to, an 11, 12 game slate. But where are you landing in terms of your exposure of Justin Fields compared to the field?
Yeah, I'm actually under the field as well. I'm not super under the field on DraftKings like Neil is, but I am on FanDuel. One thing I've been trying to do is use our top plays tool for both FanDuel and DraftKings. And Neil mentioned that leverage score. You can actually split that out to a captain leverage and a utility leverage. And one thing I did notice is that in the captain leverage score, Fields is a less egregious play on DraftKings is really what I came out to. So to make you feel a little bit better, to put you a little more at ease, Eric, I do actually have a bit of Fields. And when I do, it's at captain, thinking that, yes, he gets to that rushing ceiling score.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better. I will say for tonight, one of the free tools we have the Monday Night Football top plays tool, NBA ownership rankings, NHL projections. If you're going to be playing in the NHL streets, check those out. Those are all free. NHL is actually going to be done. The last game, I believe, locks in like 7 minutes. So best of luck with that. But as I'm looking at the other side of this one, Ben Roethlisberger, we know that he's just had an egregious year. I'm not even sure if it's necessarily by his standards, because I think we kind of expected some major regression here, but when the pocket's clean, 97.9 passer rating here on the season. The problem is when he's under pressure. He used to be able to be elusive, or at least somebody could grab onto him. He could stay strong there in the pocket, but it's down to a 39.9 when he's being under pressure on this season for his passer rating. That's not great. That's not getting it done, but still for the season, 64.2% pass plays here for the Steelers. Najee Harris still comes out of the backfield, gets some passing volume here and there. Matt Savoca, are you still going to be looking at getting to above or below the field on Ben Roethlisberger?
Yeah, I like Ben Roethlisberger. I'm okay with him, especially as just a utility play. I don't love him at the captain spot. I don't hate him there. The reason I'm fine with him essentially is because I feel like he has a limited range of outcomes, which honestly on a showdown slate where raw points are probably going to be at a premium, that's still very valuable, even if I have to pay up in salary for it. One thing that I notice, again, if you split out the leverage score between utility and captain plays on DraftKings, Roethlisberger actually has a pretty solid positive utility leverage score, meaning that his chances of being in that optimal lineup do outpace his current flex ownership. So in that case, I'm going to be above the field. Looking at it right now on DraftKings, yeah, I'm about 3 under combined captain and flex, and on FanDuel it's a little bit less, a little more under the field.
All right. Well, everybody hit that like button as you're getting in here as well. Somebody already, my Robinson breakout game. Yeah, we're going to get to that. I'm a little nervous here now, especially the Justin Fields take from one. Neil Orfield has me off kilter, really off the bat of the show. But looking at the tools, which again are the best in the industry, looking at some of the utility optimal play. I mean, you're seeing Big Ben showing up 50% of the time. He's being a little bit underutilized in that spot, maybe a little bit overutilized at captain over on DK. But Neil, how do you feel about the other quarterback in this game?
Yep. So I'm going to be over the field on Roethlisberger, just for the reasons you just mentioned. He's only projected for 45% ownership, but projected for 50% optimal lineup in the flex spot. So I'm going a little bit over that 50% of Roethlisberger. I'm not super comfortable with it. I'm not comfortable playing Roethlisberger. He looks pretty toast at this point, but the tools love him. You got to play. I'm not too comfortable with anybody in this game, I guess is what it really comes down to, other than maybe Najee Harris. Nobody else looks that great. So I'll take my chances on Roethlisberger, trust the tools. In this case, I'm going to be a little bit over the field on Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I just don't know how you can't be. I mean, single game showdown, it's crazy how there's always like these pre-notions of quarterbacks. You can throw a lot of that out the window in some of these spots. I mean, Matt Stafford had about as floor of a floor game as possible, ends up in a winning lineup on DK yesterday. I mean, it's just so hard for a lot of these guys to fill. So when they're underutilized, it's like for me, automatically, I just fire away on them and get way over the field on a guy like Big Ben here. I guess, looking at the tools, especially with Justin Fields here, maybe it's just the idea that I've seen Lamar Jackson and come from behind mode so many different times. I'm not saying that Justin Fields is Lamar Jackson. I've never believed in Justin Fields, but the rushing upside coming off a 100-yard game, I guess there is some enticing kind of stuff with the quarterbacks there. But anything else that you would want to touch on at the quarterback position, do we need to account for and have this conversation about backup quarterbacks, Neil Orfield, Mason Rudolph season?
I mean, Mason Rudolph is so bad that he could. I mean, Roethlisberger could be hurt the first play of the game. I'm not sure Mason Rudolph will get there. So I don't think we have to have that conversation in this game. If you want to do it, I guess, is Andy Dalton active? If you wanted to play one of these backup quarterbacks, it would be Andy Dalton. I will not be doing that. I think it's. I understand the play. It's actually something I used to do frequently. These days, I only really play the backup quarterback if there's a reason to, like if the starting quarterback is a little bit hurt. If his job security is in question, then I might consider a backup quarterback, but you really need them to come in the first quarter, and that just doesn't happen that often. So I'm not planning on playing any of them.
Or if you play for the Jets, in which case every player gets progressively better as you move back in the order. I mean, I can't wait to see their fourth stringer. I mean, he's probably unbelievable for sure. Matt Savoca, anything else that you want to add to quarterback?
Yeah, actually, one thing I did notice is that Ben Roethlisberger's aggressiveness has definitely gone down, but at the very least, so have his turnovers. So if you do get a chance, if you do get a game where he continues to not make turnovers, not make mistakes, and you finally get a 3-touchdown game, something he has not done, then you might finally see that 20-plus point score, something we have also not seen from Roethlisberger this season.
All right, everybody give Mike Lawrence, Awesemo, some love here. He's producing the show. Brand new producer, new to the game, staying the same, doing all the things. He's certainly not lame. I didn't plan on rhyming that whole thing. That was pathetic, but hey, it's just the way that I am. I can't really help it. Love this dude. He's been doing a great job for us behind the scenes, but one thing you got to do, just hit that like button for Mike for sure. As he's starting off on this, he's going to be taking a lot of reins on this show here, especially with the OddShopper segment coming up, but want to just talk about the Awesemo tools here from the get-go. Just get this out of the way. $29.95 for the weekly pass right now. NFL Showdown LBL. Use that promo code, all caps, one word, which will pop up on the screen. Again, Mike Lawrence, the guy. NFL Showdown LBL. You get 25% off your first week of Awesemo Plus Platinum. You just simply find the active coupon in the description, in the video below. Use it. Utilize it. I promise you'll love it. The tools that we're referring to today, top showdown tools. We have all the main slate projections, ownership projections. We have the NFL boom bust tool. We have NFL top stacks tool. We have NBA boom bust tool, which using nonstop all the time. Best projections in the game over there as well. I'm telling you, this pays for itself instantly. And now you get 25% off with NFL Showdown LBL, all caps, one word. Stop guessing, start winning. All right, let's jump over to running back. I'm excited for this conversation. Let's start with, we've got, Pittsburgh. We'll start Chicago. Chicago's way more enticing because this is really, really fun. This is kind of allude to some of the props that I'm looking at here for today. But David Montgomery, he is active. He's coming off the IR here in this spot. Matt Savoca, what are you expecting? What are you kind of guessing? Because I mean, for me, it feels like a guess here at this point is going to be David Montgomery's workload in this spot.
Hey, I think you said the most important word there, which is guessing. We're all guessing here. And when we are, it's okay in a one-game slate to take a strong stance, but just understand the amount of uncertainty when you do something like that. And so it's really, really difficult to gauge how healthy Montgomery is coming into the spot. And to be honest, if I was just taking the pure Bayesian math approach, I would just split this touch share 50-50. But the biases that I'm throwing in there, I think Montgomery is probably going to get a majority of touches if he's able to handle the workload. This is a player who, even in the game that he got knocked out against Detroit in week 4, he already had 23 total opportunities. He had 24 total opportunities in week 2 and 17 in week 1. So this is a player who, at least before the emergence of Khalil Herbert, was far and away the bell cow on this team. Now, do I think the hot hand approach is possible here from the Bears offense? I absolutely do. Khalil Herbert's been pretty darn good on a per touch basis. But if you're asking me what I actually think, I think it's Montgomery's job to lose.
Neil, how do you feel about this running back situation with David Montgomery, specifically Iowa State's finest, if I do recall?
Yeah, so I agree with Matt that by far the most likely scenario is that it's David Montgomery's backfield. Currently, I am well under the field on both. I'm not really comfortable. I mean, they're both expensive enough against the Pittsburgh defense that I would be sort of surprised to see either one in the optimal lineup. But I am sort of reconsidering it a little bit. So right now I have a lot more Montgomery than Herbert. And I'm just looking at the projected ownership of 4.5% on Khalil Herbert. I'm actually thinking about doing a recrunch here and getting just a little bit more because that is so low for a player who has shown some talent. So part of me wants to get higher on Herbert, but he is expensive enough that I don't really think you need to. I guess what I'll say is I'm going to be well into the field on both of these Chicago running backs in the end. I'm going to be well into the field on David Montgomery either way. I might try to get just slightly over the field on Khalil Herbert in my recrunch, but it's not something that I feel strongly about. I might end up just sticking with the crunch I've already done because it feels like a little bit of a thin play. The only reason is because of the low ownership and the talent that he's shown. And, David Montgomery returning from injury, you really never know how that's going to go. So as Matt said, we're guessing. And sometimes when the field feels so strongly that the guy returning is going to take his role back and the guy who's been good is not going to be involved as much, sometimes I want to take that chance a little bit more than the field.
Guess it was bad timing. No one liked my rhyming. It's okay. I'll take the L on that one. I'll grab the L. No more rhyming for me for the day. Chris Karen over there firing shots too. It was awful. I didn't think it was that bad, but we're back to football here, of course. Going back to you, Mr. Savoca, I just think with Khalil Herbert, I mean, we're talking about a guy who, it is talent. I think there's distinguishable talent there. 18 rushing attempts, 100 yards against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the number one rush defense. Everybody knows this pass funnel that is the Tampa Bay defense, and he still found a way to get there in a game. They only scored 3 points, which is just kind of miraculous altogether that he saw that much volume. But Khalil Herbert, I'm going to be over the field on him in DFS, and I think I might be shorting him in the prop market. How do you feel about that kind of a stance?
I actually really dig that. First of all, that's the best way to play the prop market is when in DFS, you need a ceiling score. We're looking for the absolute top percentile outcome in DFS. That's how we win our money. But in props, we just need our projection to be better than the line. And so that's a perfect way to play it. I just looked at my exposures and on DraftKings and FanDuel right now with my current crunches, I'm over the field on Herbert and just slightly under on Montgomery. I will say I'm slightly over the field on Montgomery as a captain, but well under in the utility spot.
Okay. Well, that kind of rounds out the main running backs. I mean, I know Neil likes to really find his deep sleepers at the running back position. I think at Chicago, I mean, what is his name? Artavis Pierce. Is Artavis Pierce a person in uniform tonight that you are rostering, Neil Orfield?
No, tonight I'm only playing the two Bears running backs.
Ryan Nall?
I'm not playing. I don't even know if he's active. He's got a projection
Kalen
of 0.
Ballage for Pittsburgh, and that's always something that is real in the world.
Yeah, so the Pittsburgh backup running backs, I will have some shares. I guess he's the only backup running back I'll have any shares of. I guess I could throw Benny Snell in there. Maybe I'll do a couple, but I feel like it's a really thin play. I think it's okay. The Pittsburgh backup running backs just don't generally get involved. So I don't think it's as thin as like a backup quarterback. Because I think that there are ways that they get. I mean, first of all, running backs are more likely to get injured than quarterbacks. Would be more likely to see Najee Harris getting hurt than a quarterback typically. So they come in that scenario, of course. But then there's also the, if they get up by a lot or down by a lot, and the game script could just lead to the backup running backs getting a little bit more run. And they're also a lot cheaper typically than a backup quarterback. So while a backup quarterback really needs like 3 full quarters to really get into the optimal, typically a backup running back, it takes a lot less. So I don't think it's as thin as a backup quarterback play, but these aren't the types of backup running backs. Typically, when I target a backup running back, it's like Sony Michel was a guy that was going to be involved almost definitely. And I was hoping that he might be a little bit more involved. In this case, these guys might not even see the field. So I'm not really going to try to get well above the field on any of these backup running backs.
Well, let's stick with you here for a second, Neil. Let's talk about somebody who I'm pretty sure is going to be on the field based on his 84 and 84% offensive snaps totals he's seen in the last 2 weeks. That's, of course, Najee Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's going to be one of, if not the most rostered player here on this slate in a game that doesn't expect to have much points. He's the workhorse back in this spot. He's expensive around the industry, but do you care? Is he somebody that you're going to be over the field on today with the 23.5 implied total, which is drastically larger than the 16.5 for the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, so in this case, I'm gonna have to recrunch a little bit because I'm currently a little bit under the field on Najee Harris. I'm more under the field than I want to be. I think that I want to be right around the field on Najee Harris. I mean, he is a guy that just has such great opportunity, and the receiving work is really what does it. In a low scoring game like this, he might get 8 receptions, and that might be enough to put him in the optimal lineup just because there's not going to be really high scores. And he is, I think, by far the most likely player to put up a big score in this game. So I don't want to be as far under the field as I am currently. I think that I want to be right around the field on Najee Harris just because the field is on him, and I think the field should be on him. So yeah, I'm going to try to get a little bit more into my lineups.
Matt, what are your thoughts on Najee Harris for tonight?
Okay, making me feel good because I'm right with the field. And I didn't really plan that out, but I'm right there with it. I just think that he's not a bad play just because the projected touch share in a game that we don't have a lot of expectation for a lot of touchdowns. The projected touch share is just so high that I can't get away from it. Volume is so important in fantasy football in general. And in games with fewer points, volume becomes even more important. So I'll be at least with the field on Najee Harris. And for the reasons that Neil mentioned, I am above the field on Anthony McFarland as well. Again, it's really not that hard to be above the field on Anthony McFarland, especially on FanDuel. You're talking about sub 5% ownership, and you can, on FanDuel, it's sub 1% ownership. No, I'm wrong. Reading it wrong. I'm about 1% over the field. My brain is breaking, but yes, I'm over the field on the backup running back because if in the circumstance that Harris goes down, I think we could see McFarland really take on a huge workload.
Anthony McFarland's out. Yeah, I think he was on the inactive list.
Okay. I was just checking that.
Yeah, Anthony McFarland's out.
So maybe switch to Kalen Ballage there.
Yep, yeah, Kalen Ballage is the guy that was in. I alluded to him a second ago. I mean, former Dolphin. We'd seen him once upon a time in a land far away, Miami, South Beach. Much more fun, I think, than Pittsburgh. Just personal opinion, actually proven fact, but I like Kalen Ballage in terms of trying to just get a little bit different. But I mean, he's obviously just massive GPP kind of a bullet there. I mean, Najee Harris, as we said, 83% of the snaps. Well, you still have some snaps that can kind of, 84% his last 2 games. There's 16% of snaps. And if you're going to talk about a guy that's going to be sub 5%, having a share to a Kalen Ballage in your allotment of 20 max or 150, I mean, it makes some sense to me. We'll go back over to you to Neil. You had kind of touched base on some of these backups here before, but Kalen Ballage, anybody else there? Benny Snell was the other guy you had brought up. What's your exposure to them again?
So I'm recrunching right now. I had some Anthony McFarland shares in my last crunch, so it's good that I had to recrunch. I expect to be Kalen Ballage at 4.2% ownership. I might be just a little bit over the field on Ballage. I'm not going to go crazy just because there's a real chance that he just doesn't get any rushes because they throw Najee out there every play. Benny Snell, I don't really know what to expect from these two. I'll probably get a few shares of Benny Snell just because he's only 2.7% projected ownership. It won't take much to be over the field. I don't even know that I'll try to get over the field. I might just be right around the field with Benny Snell. I'm not really excited about playing either of these guys, but obviously if Najee Harris goes down, you're in good shape. So I'll try to get probably just right around the field because again, I feel like these are also guys that they could come in the game. They could be the bell cow back. If Najee Harris could get hurt on the first play of the game, they could still not get into the optimal lineup. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to have a ton of either of them, but I'm going to have some.
All right, we got a super chat, and everything comes full circle in life. Let me tell you, we got Gene B. Kim, Mr. Math Professor himself. I'm right next to the GOAT Rinpack right now. He says Neil's Rockies hat is stupid. First of all, that's really mean. Second of all, I think the Rockies have one of the coolest logos in all of MLB, and I don't think it's remotely close. The color scheme, the look, I mean, there's nothing you could possibly hate with that. Neil, you have a rebuttal for his just lunatic take.
So I'm not even a Rockies fan. I got this on my honeymoon, which was at a Rockies game, and it was sunny, so I bought a hat. So I'm not really offended if it were a Twins hat, I might be slightly offended. I want to push back, but I don't really even care that Rinpack has that take, if I'm being honest. I'm curious, is Rinpack there? Is he going to be in class with Gene tomorrow?
I believe he's going to be guest lecturing at that really small, tiny, stupid little university. It's like a community college based Stanford. Is that what it's called?
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's you don't even really know. It's like Southwest Texas Biblical. Nobody gives a shit. So yeah, have fun with your little math class doing whatever. Not important at all, but also be safe. Have some fun up there, guys. Have a blast, and then get to my wedding, Ryan. You were required, so hurry up. All right. That's all we got for that. We got wide receivers to talk about. Everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We've got 1.5K people checking in, talking some Monday Night Football for this lovely game that we have in front of us. Covered the running back position. Let's jump over to wide receiver, starting with the Road Bears. And I had already gotten some crap here. I believe it was Karl Marx there in the chat who had said, I basically had proclaimed in a video today for Yahoo specifically, where he's $12, that today could be Allen Robinson Day. Now, his route tree, if you go to NFL Next Gen Stats, does not look like the normal route tree you would expect from an alpha wide receiver or a guy in previous iterations where he had been running very distinguished routes. He made Andy Dalton, he made Blake Bortles look like all-stars once upon a time, and it's just not there maybe, but I think there's some hope here in this spot. Neil, can I get you behind that play whatsoever today?
Yeah, I mean, I like to play just fine. So currently I am under the field on Allen Robinson just because Robinson and Mooney are projected for about the same ownership, but Mooney is cheaper and typically gets more opportunities. So I would have expected Mooney to be the higher owned play just based on being cheaper, but he gets more targets than Allen Robinson and he's cheaper and they're coming in the same ownership. So currently my plan is to be a little bit over the field on Mooney, a little bit under the field on Robinson, but it would not be shocking to see Allen Robinson just go out there and put up a big game on Monday Night Football. I'm sure, he's one of those kind of star players. Sometimes I feel like this is very narrative based. Sometimes those star players do just show up on the big stage. So it wouldn't be that shocking, but that's not something I really factor in too much. And in this game, I'm going to be a little bit under the field, but wouldn't be a shock if he goes off.
All right. And then we go back over to Matt Savoca. How do you feel about Allen Robinson versus Darnell Mooney, which is a weird thing to say and pit them against each other, but considering, especially on DK, 7,200 for Allen Robinson, 6,400 for Mooney, which one are you siding with more in lineups tonight?
I'm siding with Mooney, and I hate myself for it.
I'm
bad. So broken about Allen Robinson. This is one of my worst calls this year. I really thought, really just as Neil said, that the star power of Allen Robinson would be able to propel the offense, yes, of a rookie quarterback, at least to some level. But when the offense is throwing for under 200 yards every game and 9 targets a game are going to Darnell Mooney, that's what happens. Allen Robinson is now relegated to a very high salary, likely 6 target player. Like Neil said, could Allen Robinson do great things with 6 targets? Absolutely. He absolutely could on a 1-game slate. We just have not seen it this year. I'm slightly under the field on it right now. Again, I am recrunching as well as we keep going here, but I just have very little faith. At least the numbers don't show this turning around for Allen Robinson. As a fan, I'd love to see it.
I would love to see it too, because let's see, I have him in every best ball team. I think every best ball team that I look at that I'm like, oh, I'm not live, because Allen Robinson is just drafted way too high in them. It looks awful. Rip to all of those. But hey, Neil, where are you landing on those 2 wide receivers relative to the field? Because everybody wants to know those kind of things for your exposures.
Robinson, yeah, currently I'm a little bit more under the field on Robinson than I want to be. I think I want to be just a little bit under the field on Robinson and a little bit over the field on Mooney. That's what I'm trying to do as I'm recrunching here. It's not a stand that I really want to take. I don't want to take a huge stand on these guys because I think they're both good receivers. It wouldn't be surprising to see either one of them score a touchdown, put up a big game. So I'm going to try to be just a little bit under the field on Robinson and over the field on Mooney.
All right, going back to Matt here, we've got some ancillary options from the Chicago side. Marquise Goodwin, Tamir Bird, Jakeem Grant. Can you make an argument other than they're cheap and they're probably going to be on the field? Is there one that you're finding yourself gravitating towards at all in tournaments?
No, I guess it's Marquise Goodwin in the sense that if there's one of those players who could just catch one pass and make it worth your while, it's Goodwin and his breakaway speed. But ultimately, I have a rule that I'm only playing one of these players, and it kind of just came out where I didn't get any significant exposure to any here. I really think that basically every single Chicago Bears pass catcher, including the two we already talked about, are closer to dart throw plays than they are must plays in this spot. I'm looking at, some solid combined ownership because there's some upside there, but I just don't have any faith in these auxiliary weapons. Not the tight ends, not the tertiary wide receivers. Maybe in large field, that's it.
Neil, we're relying on you. Who's the GPP sleeper that's going to win us $1 million tonight?
Yeah, so I mean, large field is all that I play. So I plan on being over the field on a few of these guys. I am recrunching right now, but I plan on being over the field on all.
Release your anger.
James Washington, Marquise Goodwin, Ray McLeod. I'm going to be over the field on all three of those. I'm not getting to any Jakeem Grant. He just doesn't project well enough for me to even really consider him too much. Although 2.6% ownership, crazier things you can do. It's not the worst play. Damiere Byrd, I'll have some shares of. I'm trying to get right around the field of Damiere Byrd, but the stands I'm taking really are Ray McLeod. I'm going to try to be well over the field, Marquise Goodwin, and James Washington. And yeah, I don't feel that confident about any of these guys, but in this game environment, I feel like it really won't take much at all. I mean, this is the kind of game where if you score a touchdown, you're probably going to be in the optimal lineup, is my expectation, just because it's probably going to be so low scoring. And if a guy like McLeod or James Washington just has a reception for 50 yards, that might be enough by itself. It might just take one reception, even without a touchdown. So I'm going to be over the field on these guys. They might not do anything. You go into it knowing they might just completely dud out, but I'm going to take those chances because I feel like this game is just, nobody really knows what to expect from anybody in this game, apart from Najee Harris will be involved, will have opportunities. It's just, you got to take some chances in this game. Otherwise, you're going to be duping a million times. So yeah, I'm going to be over the field on those three guys.
Well, I'm over the field on Chase Claypool, and I'm under on Deontay Johnson. So that totally means that that's going to work against me as well here. But Deontay Johnson, slight bit of negative leverage. I think people are kind of paying up for a little bit more security there. I'm willing to embrace a little bit more Chase Claypool, is going a little bit underutilized in the Awesemo tools on the top showdown single game plays. How are you feeling about those top two wide receivers here in this spot, Neil? Because I like them both, but I think I'm just going to be siding a little bit more with Chase Claypool based on current ownership.
Yep, I'm taking the exact same approach. I'm going to be actually well over the field on Claypool. I mean, I'm still recrunching, but yeah, I'm going to be well over the field on Claypool. I'm going to be just a bit under the field on Deontay Johnson. They're obviously both great plays. Deontay Johnson is safer, but this is showdown. We're trying to win $1 million, so I'm going to be well over the field on Chase Claypool and hope that this is one of those games where he scores. What, he put up 4 touchdowns in a game last year?
Yep.
So maybe this is a game.
All right.
Let's hope.
Yeah, Notre Dame's finest. And we're going back to Matt Savoca. How do you feel about these two cats in this spot?
Hey, we're finally in agreement. I just want to add that Deontay Johnson is not a bad play at all here. And if he were to be the top scorer, our tools really like him in terms of top scorer percentage. It wouldn't be a surprise at all. But again, this really just comes down to we're playing against other people. We're playing against the field. And Chase Claypool, compared to what his ceiling is and compared to the value on a per target basis that he gets, I just really like the salary discount we get. One of the things I was looking at is while he has about a 10% less target share than Deontay Johnson, that is Chase Claypool, he has almost tied Deontay Johnson in air yard share. And so again, it's almost the average depth of target is almost 2 yards larger for Claypool than for Johnson. It's just one of those things where I don't even need as many looks for Claypool for it to go right.
Going right back to here, we got a super chat from Twisted Reality Gaming. He said, thoughts on Najee MVP for FanDuel, Pat F, Deontay Johnson, Mooney. I think everything you just put there looks great to me. I mean, what you're doing is you're fading the quarterbacks in that spot. And you're just hoping this is a 9-6 football game, which is totally in play.
Yeah, I like it.
Najee really MVP, like anything else there?
No quarterbacks at all on that.
No quarterbacks at all. Again, you're not going to be duped very often there. And again, we're trying to avoid the dupe game. And Do I want to be over the field on quarterbacks on FanDuel mostly? Yeah, but I think some of these builds where you have a game script in mind where, it's going to be a lot. That's basically a 25-toe Najee Harris game script right there that I'm reading off. So I think that that's definitely something in play, or maybe Mooney gets a jet sweep where Justin Fields gets none of that or something. I think that you're looking at something along those lines. That's probably not going to happen, but I'm just saying, you got to have that game script in mind. So I don't completely hate that. Most of the time I'm going to be siding with the QBs, but I see what you're doing there. Thank you so much for the super chat. Do you have anything you want to add to wide receiver at all before we talk a little prize picks, Matt Savoca?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what Neil was talking about with the auxiliary weapons of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm also over the field on James Washington. Again, we're on these one-game slates. We're looking for big play receivers, even if they don't have a full snap share, and their most likely outcome is somewhere between 3 and 5 targets. That's what we can project for Washington here. But if 2 deep passes connect and he gets a touchdown, then he's almost certainly in the optimal lineup.
Anything else for you, Neil, to round it out?
Nope, that'll do it.
Oh, see, that'll do, Pig. That'll do. Or that'll do, donkey. That'll do. Little Shrek action, but that was terrible. You know what's not terrible is PrizePicks and their interface. It is one of the cleanest, easiest sites to be recommending for you to go play. And not only that, but they're incentivizing you big time right now. They'll match you up to $100 right now with your first deposit. Simply use promo code Awesemo. Promo code Awesemo gets you $100 back into your account right away. I'm telling you, they have started commercially everywhere. People have been hitting me up on prize pick plays. People want to know this stuff like right out of the gate because everybody seems to be playing there, especially in states where you can't yet play legalized sports betting. Almost all of them have it set up where you can play prize picks. And I'm telling you right now, it is so fun. You simply play 2, 3, 4, or 5 players in each lineup, so to speak, every card, whatever you want to call it there. And you can get up to 10x your entry fees. The really nice thing is, though, for some of these flex plays, you can get paid 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5, as opposed to on a traditional sports book. You would be dead in those kind of spots. You at least get your money back, a little bit more than your money back if you get 4 of 5 right for your 5 picks. And then 3 of 5 gets you at least half your money back. So I'm telling you, stuff like that can help sustain your bankroll a little bit more than the average sports book. That's what makes PrizePicks different. That's what makes it so fun to play. And again, the app on your phone is so clean. The desktop, their website is super, super easy to use, super clean to be looking at. I'm just curious where a couple of you guys have a couple of these plays at. Let's start with this. Neil Orfield, do you have a prop over at PrizePicks that's kind of sticking out to you for tonight?
Ooh, throw one at me. Do you have it open?
I've got Najee Harris, 0.5 rushing touchdowns. This is something that Lofty's always kind of pointing to. And Najee Harris, I think, is the most likely player looking around the entire market right now as somebody that you could be investing in. We'll talk some OddShopper here next after we cover tight ends. And I think that that's going to be really, really enjoyable, especially watching Mike Lawrence. We're going to be making him sweat a little bit, and I'm looking forward to that. But I'm thinking that just kind of investing in the over on the most likely guy to get a rushing touchdown in this game. I believe he was going at minus 150 as an anytime score. I mean, obviously a passing touchdown would be bad situation, but I still think we would all agree that rushing is basically how he's going to be getting there. 0.5 rushing touchdowns. Give me the over for Najee Harris. What say you?
Ooh, if it were 0.5 anytime touchdowns, I would take the over. But if it's just rushing, that's tougher. I think I'm going to take the under.
Ooh. Contrarian. Matt Savoca, break the tie.
I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I will say Ben Roethlisberger over 0.5 interceptions is another one that I had circled as a prize pick. He was going at minus 130 to throw a pick in this game, which I found surprising, which we'll get to the defense here. I think Bears defense might be a little bit more intriguing. I don't normally play over the field on any defense on these kind of slates, but these are low totals for anybody involved. And I think there's some viability as I was looking at the tools earlier today. We'll see if that kind of maintains for my final runs, but those are kind of the two spots where you can kind of have those circled. Every single prize picks. It's just so easy to put together. You can do cross sports. You can play NBA with NFL, with college basketball is going to be showing up soon. Tennis. They have women's college basketball. They have CSGO. They have cricket sometimes posted. Every sport you could ask for. Check out PrizePicks now. Use that promo code Awesemo. Download it in the App Store, Google Play, or go to prizepicks.com. And thank you so much to them for their sponsorship. All right, let's do some tight ends. Then we're going to do some OddShopper. Looking forward to that. But Talk to me about some of the tight ends that are sticking out to you in this spot, Mr. Matt Savoca. Pat Fryermuth, Penn State's finest. Zach Gentry was popping up a ton in the tools earlier today. Cole Kmet has been a thing here on and off, and Jimmy Graham returns. Who are you prioritizing out of the tight ends for this slate?
Yeah, it sounds like he's out of the movie Brave or something. Pat Fryermuth, but I'm all about
Loved
it.
that.
Yeah, can you not like a player who, as a rookie tight, if Kyle Pitts did not exist or didn't have the tight end name next to him, we would be talking all about how impressive Pat Fryermuth's rookie year has been. Right off the bat, week 1 of his rookie year, playing 47% of snaps. Now with Ebron out, last 2 weeks, 60.6% of snaps, 79.7% of snaps last week. He's basically a full-time player, has run over 20 routes in each of the last 2 games and seen 7 targets in each of the last 2 games, including 3 total targets in the red zone. You're probably not going to see a 100-yard game or anything like that. He is a tight end, but 50 yards here, very, very possible. And then all we need for him is to fall into the end zone. It is a high floor, somewhat low ceiling play, but still, again, we're talking about just finding touchdowns in this very strange slate. Fryermuth could easily be that one that gets into the end zone, especially with how he's been utilized the last 2 weeks.
Neil Orfield, tight end, continually slaughters on these showdown slates. I don't know how to explain it. Backup quarterbacks, third string tight ends. Yesterday, another tight end, Jeff Swaim. Like, what are we doing with our lives here? We should just be over on all of these guys today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, so I just recrunched and realized, so I think I was over the field on Fryermuth before adjusting some things. Now I'm a little bit under the field on Fryermuth, which I don't love because I do think that he's a really solid play. I mean, he's just been playing great. I feel like in a low scoring game like this, it's not going to take much to get there. And I think that Pat Fryermuth is one of the more likely guys to just have 5 receptions and get into the optimal lineup. So I think that he's a really solid play. I don't know if I'm going to recrunch to try to get over the field again. But I think that he's a smart play to get over the field. And I think on FanDuel, I actually am well over the field on Fryermuth. Yes, I am. So I really love Fryermuth on FanDuel. I'm a little bit under the field on DraftKings, but I think he's a really solid play, and the tools back that up. He's one of the most positively leveraged plays in the Awesemo tools. So I love Fryermuth today.
So Jesse James had gone off the last 2 games, but now you get Jimmy Graham activated here. I think that kind of not just chops the legs off of Jesse James, but truly kind of removes him from any kind of consideration for me. Looks like it does in the Awesemo tools as well. He's projected under a point. But Jimmy Graham, Cole Kmet, any interest in the Bears side of this whatsoever?
Yeah, so for me, I'm going to be right about the field on Cole Kmet. Maybe I just can't quit him. He was one of my big best ball guys, but I think that he's got some opportunity here, and he's a significantly cheaper than Pat Fryermuth. So I'm just going to be right around the field on Cole Kmet. I don't think that he is a play that you really need in there, but again, these options who are going to be less owned, it's just not going to take that much to get into the optimal lineup. I feel like if he just has, several targets, and Justin Fields has been targeting his tight ends a lot the past couple of weeks, 9 and 10 targets to his tight ends without Graham in there. So I kind of like Cole Kmet as a play. Like I said, I'm just going to be right around the field. He's not somebody I want to go too crazy with. And then Jesse James, Jimmy Graham. I'm going to be a little bit over the field on Graham. I'm going to be right around the field on Jesse James. It's interesting. Justin Fields has said a lot of really good things about Jesse James the past couple of weeks. He seems to be really comfortable with Jesse James. So if I thought the coaches are going to do what they should do, I would probably try to get over the field on Jesse James. I think it's more likely that Jimmy Graham just comes back and takes back over that spot. But I think there's at least a chance that Jesse James kind of retains his role. They've seen how comfortable Justin Fields is with him. So I'm gonna have to have some of him in my lineups.
Are you gonna have some of him in your lineups as well, Mr. Savoca?
Oh yeah, the Jesse James revenge game. I don't know what other narrative we should be focusing on here. I have about 1% Jesse James. Not going crazy here, but yeah, I have a little bit of him. I understand that. And I also do have a little bit over the field on Jimmy Graham. Again, we're not talking about a huge amount of ownership at all here coming in. You can be at 5% probably and be over the field on Jimmy Graham. So we're not going crazy, but with a rookie quarterback too, they often rely on short area targets more often, and that means tight end and running back targets. So yeah, there are worse plays.
There are worse plays. There are also better plays, but I have 2% of him in my 50 lineup. So that's one lineup would be the correct answer. That's what math told me just now. Yeah, I'm fine with getting to a little bit of him. I think that kind of covers the tight end position. We'll finish up with defensive kickers, and then we'll get ourselves out of here. But I'm excited for this segment, and I hope you guys are too. We're going to talk some OddShopper here quick, and we found a little segment that we're going to try out here. It's called Props in 60 seconds. But in this case for today, because we're timing it, it's going to be 90 seconds. We've got Awesemo behind the virtual glass there, Mike Lawrence. He's going to be the one who's taking control here, going through OddShopper. But we are each going to pick a prop, okay? We're each one of us is going to pick a prop, our favorite prop for the day. And he has to find that prop on OddShopper within 30 seconds. So that's 30 seconds for me, 30 seconds for you, 30 seconds for Neil. We're going to be going down the line and have each one of us going. I want to start with you, Mr. Savoca, because you're the smiley, nice guy who's going to be very kind. And it's going to get meaner as we go along to Mike Lawrence because there is so much pressure. But the timer's on the screen starting now. What is your prop?
Okay, so I'm really liking the Steelers offense to finally have a chance to maybe score more than 2 touchdowns in a football game here. And what if they all come through the air? I like the idea of Ben Roethlisberger completing more passes than his current prop line, over 22.5 completions for Ben Roethlisberger. Right now, our expected win rate on that is 72%. Let's go, Mike. Let's see if you can find it.
Look at that. He did it. He did it. So you find that, you go to the play. Hey, Neil, that was 30 seconds. You go right here.
Yeah, I like Matt's approach of doing a lot of talking before giving the prop and really putting the pressure on. So I think
what an
I'm going to do that
Keep
the
going.
same right now. Allen Robinson over 3.5 receptions.
Okay, well, no analysis. That's going to be it. That's going to be it. You got 15 seconds.
The tools liked it. It was very positive ROI in the OddShopper tool is my reasoning. That's why I like it.
Look at Awesemo. He's able to pick it up super quick. You can pick on the players. You can group it by expected win percentage. You can group it by expected ROI. It's really fun to do. 3, 2, 1. My pick is going to be going and embracing some of the volatility. David Montgomery has been the workhorse at Chicago pretty much this entire time. I'm just going to expect Khalil Herbert, even in a spot against a Pittsburgh defense, could shut him down if he was the workhorse back. I think now with the uncertainty of Mr. David Montgomery being inserted there, Khalil Herbert under 40.5 rushing yards, 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds. Mike, don't screw this up. Khalil Herbert.
Pressure is on.
Khalil Herbert, get there. He's got it. Khalil Herbert. Boom. 1-0.
Well done.
Everybody to Mike Lawrence. Well done. Well done. That is how easy it is to be using OddShopper. I'm telling you right now, you can find bets. You can find positive EV bets in seconds. In just 30 seconds each, we were able to find a bet that we liked on the board, use Awesemo's tools to kind of verify where our leans were going to be, or use them to identify them, period. Expected win percentage, expected ROI. It doesn't get any easier than that. So head to OddShopper right now, check out the tools. And if you want to learn how to use the NBA side, I would strongly recommend it because you might be incentivized on the NBA Live Before Lock show tomorrow to figure out exactly how to group those players, pick up the expected ROIs quickly, because the better you are at using that site, the better you might have a chance of getting some free stuff. And everybody likes free stuff. That's at least what I heard. It's a Midwest thing. You know, we'll go to like the farmer's market that happens once every month because, you know, they're giving away free corn. I don't know. It's a bad example. Neil, what's it like in Minnesota these days?
I wasn't listening. It's great though. It's great in Minnesota these days.
Cool. I hate you. I just don't like you. So I'm going to go to Matt Savoca for the rest of this show. Hey, kickers, talk to me about kickers here in this spot, because we've got a sub. Is that the right way of putting this? A second string kicker we're kind of inserting into this spot. Josh Lambo going to be out here. So Cairo Santos, Chris Boswell here. Where are you standing on kickers in this game?
I am just below the field on Cairo Santos, and I am below the field pretty substantially on Chris Boswell, actually. I don't hate the plays. I just think they're more cash game plays in this spot. You know, could I see a really, really ugly defensive-minded slog fest where we've already talked about it? Some 12-9 outcomes are absolutely possible in this game. I just don't see it as a very appealing option. Of course, Neil is probably going to tell me he's way above the field now and make me question everything. On FanDuel, I am a little bit over. Actually, no, I'm right on the field with Boswell. So I guess a little bit less under than I originally thought.
Neil Orfield, kicker, you're the final say in this one, because I might have a different opinion here. What are you doing with kicker on this slate?
Okay, before I get there, I just want to say Zach Gentry, we didn't even bring him up, and I'm well over the field as well.
Yeah.
I just skipped right over him, but I just wanted to make sure I get that out there. Yes, I am over the field on Zach Gentry. I think he's a solid play. He's, I think, more of a blocking tight end than a receiving tight end, but he did start to get some opportunities last week with Eric Ebron out, and I am hoping for that to continue. So I'm going to be over the field on Zach Gentry. Matt Savoca, do you want to touch on that before I give my kickers takes?
Yeah, I mean, 5 targets for a second tight end, we'll take it. We'll take it. So I'm definitely down to play him, especially low salary.
Yeah, I mean, we've had Ebron, we've had Jesse James, we've had a lot of these Pittsburgh Steeler guys show up randomly on given weeks, and why not tonight? So I'm there with you. Neil Orfield, go ahead, talk to me about kicker.
Okay, I am slightly under the field on Cairo Santos. I think he actually is a positive leverage play in the Awesemo tools. He is. So I don't love that I'm under the field on Cairo Santos, but that's kind of how it came down in my final crunch, and I'm just going to let it roll. And then I am well over the field on Chris Boswell. I think that if I recrunched a million times, I would try to get to a little bit over the field on both. They both have very positive leverage scores in the Awesemo single game tool. I don't expect this to be a high scoring game, so it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of field goals are what decides the game. Typically, I agree, like in large field tournaments, you want better plays than the kickers. But in a slog fest like this, I just think that the kickers, it's not unlikely that they are very relevant. So I'm comfortable being over the field on Boswell. I wish I had a little bit more Santos than I have, but it is what it is. I think they're both very solid plays. You can play either of them.
I think you can value kicker a lot higher too on FanDuel for a game like this. I mean, FanDuel, you're talking about the same scoring system for a kicker that you have over on DK, and it's half point PPR. I think relatively in a low scoring game like this, I just like the kickers a lot over on FanDuel. I'm finding myself landing on them a little bit more. Do you kind of notice the same thing, Neil?
Yep, I'm going to get to a lot of kickers on FanDuel as well. I'm currently above the field on Boswell there too. I'm actually recrunching because I only had 2% Cairo Santos, so that makes me a little bit uncomfortable. So I am recrunching. But yeah, I think they're both very solid plays on FanDuel.
All right, you get your lineups in. We've got 12 minutes. We're going to have some time to be able to kind of finish up here. We got defense to still touch on. Matt Savoca, anything else you want to talk about kickers whatsoever?
Yeah, I'm sweating now because I'm below on Santos. I might. Oh, it's so fun to be on a show and recrunch a couple times, isn't it? But
yeah, no, I just had to do it for NBA people while I was hosting a show. I'm just a true sick person over here. Nothing better than figuring out how much Josh Hart is too much Josh Hart while you're talking about Pat Freiermuth and all these other cats. Jesse James revenge spot going from 0% to 8% of him. So love cutting into my EV. It's great. But you know what? Neil Orfield, he knows things. And so I think this Jesse James whispering, little bit of that. I'm hoping that we get some magic out of that here. Hey, let's round it out with defense. This is a slog fest. This is a gross football game. So Steelers defense, you want to talk leverage? Here's some leverage for you. Chris Boswell, 13.8% leverage. Steelers, 12.6%. Their defense is so positively leveraged. They're showing up in the utility with a 37.4% optimal rate. I have never seen defense project this well in a football game so long as I've been doing Showdown, so long as I've been playing this for years and years and years. Neil, not Neil. Let's go to Matt Savoca here first. Again, I'm letting Neil finish his lineups. What do we do with a Steelers defense that just looks so superb in this spot?
You play them. I've got so much Steelers defense. Just looking on FanDuel, I've got well over the field. Yep, same thing on DraftKings here. Well over the field, especially at the utility spot. Not necessarily in captain, but you can certainly play them. Yeah, the leverage scores are just too high to pass up. It's a fantastic spot. Justin Fields, turnover prone, rookie quarterback play. You know the yardage probably isn't going to be there. The only thing that really concerns me at all is the randomness of scrambling. And, there's a possibility that Justin Fields can break free for a couple of big runs. And that is really the only thing that concerns me for this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Not quite as strong as they were in 2020, but still one of the best defensive units in the NFL.
Yeah, I said number 6 right now in PFF grading still. There's no question that, it's their offense that's holding them back 30th, according to PFF in that regard. That's not ideal, but yeah, their defense can go out and win them football games. Neil, again, everybody wants to know, where are you landing with defenses in this spot?
Yeah, I mean, they're both great plays. This is, again, with my recrunches on air, I came in a little bit under the field on the Steelers defense. I would have liked to have been a little bit over the field, I think, but I still have enough that I'm not too uncomfortable with it. I'm only a little bit under the field. So yeah, I mean, like Matt said, they're just a great play today. So I'm playing both, and I'm a little bit over the field on the Bears defense, actually. You know, Roethlisberger is so bad. I feel like they can get to Roethlisberger, and they're, you know, a middling defense. They're solid enough that I feel like in against the Steelers offense, I think they should be able to put up some points. Hopefully make some interceptions. I know Roethlisberger has been throwing fewer interceptions. Matt mentioned that earlier. So I'm hoping that he regresses a little bit, I guess.
This is your weekly reminder that Neil always wants to tell you guys that you can totally play defense up against your quarterback. And if you're in Cruncher, you should definitely be going to that offensive players versus defense tab. You should be changing that to 2, 3, 4 players, whatever setting. Make sure you get those in so you get to those defenses, right, Neil?
I put it at 5.
You put it at 5, especially in this spot, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I always put it at 5, but it's more likely to actually come into play in this spot.
Yeah, I think that you could have a standalone defense as the run back on another side. I know there was a showdown where that happened within the last couple of years where the defense was the only run back in that spot. I don't recall what it was, but what a time to be alive if that were to work out optimally here in this spot. Anything else you want to add to defense, Matt Savoca, to kind of round out this show for us?
Yeah, I'll have some of the Bears defense as well. I'm kind of right with the field on FanDuel. I will admit that I have a little bit less of them, but I was gonna say, yeah, I don't hate the Bears defense. I'm like tilting my face off here with these extra crunches right as we go, but I don't think the idea of Ben Roethlisberger suddenly throwing 3 interceptions is far-fetched. So playing lineups with that in mind, with that game script in mind, is not irrational by any sense.
All right. I know a lot of you guys are going to be jumping off to go watch the game here as we're finishing out the show. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We still have 7 minutes here to go. We're going to be here right up until lock. We got super chats we're going to answer. We have questions we're going to answer. I'm also going to be asking the guys their favorite plays, what they want to have happen here as we're going. So stick around. We're not going anywhere yet, but we got a super chat from Dinez. I'm going to start with you, Matt Savoca here. High dollar cash DK, Freiermuth and Santos, or Gentry, Montgomery, Herbert, Robinson, or best Bears play. That's a lot to digest. Hopefully you've got chat up there to kind of figure out exactly what that is. So so help decipher that for me.
Freiermuth and Santos, or Gentry, Montgomery, Herbert, Robinson. I kind of like Freiermuth and Santos.
Okay. I think that looks really good to me. Yeah, I mean, I don't see Najee. I mean, high dollar cash. I'm trying to figure out exactly what's going on with it, but Freiermuth and Santos, or Gentry, Montgomery, Herbert, Robinson. So, or best Bears play. So he's saying Gentry and then whatever Bears play. I like again, I like Herbert. I'm over the field on Herbert in DFS, and I'm just shorting him in the prop market. And I think that that's going to be just fine. I think I could actually end up optimally doing both. I think you could end up winning in both regards. Again, it's rushing yards. I'm not necessarily fading any kind of his passing volume there that I would expect him to maybe have a little bit, maybe a couple targets, but just kind of looking at that, I'm pretty stoked about it. We have 33 seconds here. Yeah, it's 1 minute to lock here. I knew that it was lining up here. Final thoughts here. Favorite captain play for you, Neil, or Phil, go ahead.
First, I would not play Herbert in cash, though. This is high dollar cash. I wouldn't play Herbert there.
Okay. Yeah, no, that sounds like a great idea. Favorite captain play for you today, Neil? What are we cheering for, my guy?
Najee Harris, most likely. I mean, he's going to be my most owned captain. Let me see if I have anybody who I have a lot of Roethlisberger as well. Mm-hmm. Chase Claypool. It's Chase Claypool.
All right, yeah, get those lineups in. We got 20 seconds.
1, 2, 3 is Harris, Roethlisberger, Claypool. I feel like a genius. Wow. I feel like Neil.
Oh my God.
I feel like a genius. I feel like Matt. Captain. All right.
I was getting thrown off, so I took a look up in the corner. See how it says 5 minutes in the top corner here on YouTube for the countdown. So we're going to be done here now. But there was a 4:53 that's still going, 52, 51, so on and so forth. Hey, everybody, good luck tonight. I hope you guys had a blast hanging out with us, talking a little DFS here. Neil Arfield, any final words for the people?
No, let's win some money.
Matt Savoca, final words for the people.
Thanks for watching, guys. Let's win that cash.
That's Matt. That's Neil. I'm Eric. We'll catch you later. Best of luck. Go Jesse James. What world are we in?